Hey y'all, Lethal Muffins here. I wanted to give a brief little update on the 12.9 Killa farming video. So Tweak recently released a video. Um, it's right here. He calls it the How to Kill Killa Easily updated 12.9. Uh, I watched it. I actually disliked the video, which is super rare for me. I never ever dislike a video. However, I think he just kind of really didn't do his research on this one. I normally really enjoy Tweak's videos, even kind of the, I know we all know the satirical How to Get Rich in Tarkov, where he's talking about shoving shit up his ass. I always enjoyed that. But in this video, he talks about a few different things that I would actually not recommend at all when farming Killa. So I wanted to kind of give you um, my strategy for hunting him and kind of what I've had the most success with. So I actually kind of began following Dill Hero after his um, after his Punisher win. He's been posting some pretty good videos. So if you don't know, Dill Hero is the one that won Pestili's Punisher Series Challenge Part 2, the one that ran on Labs. Um, and he's been kind of killing it. So he had a video a little while back on how to farm Killa for 12.9. And he's going to say kind of a lot of the similar things that I did, so wanted to give him a brief shout out on his video, certainly. So yeah, so in terms of my loadout, very similar to what he says. I run a DT MDR. This is my build for it. All I do is I throw a red brake, muzzle brake on there. It's the best in slot muzzle brake along with the Landtac Dragon. They both give, so this is the other one, the Landtac Dragon right here. They both give 15% recoil reduction. In addition to that, I literally just grab one of these, the Magpul M-Lock AFG grip. I specifically go for the flat dark earth one, again, just because it's the cheapest. Right now, I have all my traders maxed out. I can get one for $68, which is about 7,500 rubles currency exchange, I guess. And then in addition to that, one of these EKP sites. Again, super cheap. I just literally run the cheapest thing that are in slot. These red brake muzzle brakes are, again, run for about 10,000. These MDRs, I typically try to buy them all up. Like, for example, I'm going to buy these. If I ever see them underneath 100K, I'll just grab them because that's a good price for them. And yeah, M61s. M61s, again, another important component. I kind of just, again, have my hideout maxed out now. So what I do for the hideout is I just go to my workbench and I start queuing up some green gunpowders. Right now I'm crafting some OFZs just because I want to get the regulated material thing done and out of the way. So they added that craft. Again, if you don't know, you can craft OFZs now, so that's good craft. But what I do to craft M61s is I'll queue up some green gunpowder crafts right here, these Eagle gunpowders, just M67s, and smoke grenades, really cheap craft, really money efficient craft here as well. One of the best like kind of passive money making things. It actually earns you about as much as a Bitcoin farm, especially if it's not fully maxed out your Bitcoin farm, is to craft green gunpowders and then craft it into 7.62 BP ammo. And sell it on the flea market. That's a really good money making strategy. Anyway, to get M61s, I normally craft these green gunpowders. I'll craft them until I have 3 of them, and then I'll turn around and I'll craft red gunpowders out of that. Again, I normally just buy the blue gunpowder in the matches in order to craft the 6 red gunpowders, and then I use those red gunpowders to craft M61s, which is 6 red gunpowders and 2 helix will give you 300 rounds, and that's normally good enough to kind of last me a cycle until, again, I can make some new gunpowders. All right, so that's how I normally run that. So the biggest discrepancy in actually killing Killa is kind of where his spawns were, and I think this is kind of where Tweak didn't really do his research. He said there's a few spawns inside the store that no longer exist. So for those of you who don't know, Killa spawns will shift between different patches. I think they just kind of change them to kind of surprise people and throw them off guard. So I'll take you into an offline raid, and I'll try to point them out really quickly. And once I do that, I'll bring you into a live raid, and we'll see if we can find them. For whatever reason, the offline raids, the scab bosses aren't really spawning now. Don't know why that's happening. It's kind of aggravating, especially for making videos, but I'll bring you into a couple raids. Before that, I also wanted to briefly say, if you're going to be Killa farming, especially doing 100 kills, I'm about 80 kills deep right now, 79. I have been maxing strength and endurance along with it. So again, it's about a month into wipe right now. I already have max endurance. That's been maxed for a hot minute now. And strength's well on its way. So if you see these extra docs cases in here, they're just filled with SAS drives. And I've just been maxing out my strength while I do runs. You get about 8 points per raid. So it's a really good leveling strategy. Just kind of passively do it. That way you feel like you're not really wasting your time while you're farming and you don't get a spawn. You know, that's kind of a way I keep sane. It's not a total waste of time. The other way I kind of keep my sanity during all these runs is I'll track his spawn rates. So there's been certain days where I just got really, really unlucky with the spawn rates, and I felt like I needed to track it. So starting at kill 40, I tracked all of the spawns just to see his spawn rates. So just a simple in Excel, a 0 if it's a no spawn, a 0.38 is if I die before I get there. So you see that happens a couple times. So if I die running into the mall, I just give the natural spawn rate, which is what the wiki says, the 38%. I give them the benefit of doubt, and I say it's a 0.38. That way it just kind of averages out. And again, it's a 1 if I see them. So just kind of, again, a way to keep my sanity. This tracks the overall average, which you can see right now. It's exactly 0.38. So even if you feel like you're getting super unlucky, it actually seems to be holding pretty true. There was one day where, man, I just felt like I could not get him to spawn and save my life. I think it was this day right here, 120. Actually, no, sorry. It was the day after that. Maybe 2 days after that, right here, 122. Which, let's see, check the old calendar. It was a Friday. So I think his spawn rate, again, this is kind of just what I've observed, not anything super scientific. But I think his spawn rate goes down on the weekends. There's also a lot of people hunting him on the weekends, so you'll have a lot more competition if you can farm him during the week. I find that both his spawn rates and your kind of competition is much lower, so that's what I would recommend. In addition to that, after about 10 or 11 p.m., I play on East Coast servers. I also find that his spawn rates go down quite a bit there as well. So you might see like right here at the end of the day, right, my last like 10 raids, I only saw him once, which, you know, there's some bias in these. Right here as well, right, is the last about 9 raids here, I only saw him once. About 10 raids here, I only saw him once. Again, this is kind of just observed, and I very well could have probably hopped off, you know, just because I wasn't seeing them. That's probably a more than likely scenario. So there's some bias in this data, but I do see a dip after a certain point. Whether or not that would hold if I did 20 more raids that day, who knows? But again, weekdays before 10 or 11 p.m., that's kind of seems to be where I get the most luck. If you look at like my earlier in the day raids, here I get much better spawn rates. I've heard some suggestions to alternate day and night raids. That increases your spawn rates. I haven't really messed around with that. I kind of just go whenever. So again, just something kind of I do on the side to track the progression. I will say I do make it a point to enter like 6 p.m. raids, like 1800 hours. Uh, I find that the spawn rates tend to be pretty good. Like even this 1952, I find those times, those late kind of late evenings before the sun sets. I find that those raids work out pretty well. But yeah, let's quickly hop into let's hop into a raid, and I'll show you where the spawns are. I also didn't mention, but blue stems are really helpful. It's worth saying as well. Blue stems, I run them even though I have max endurance. I was kind of debating this. I asked a few streamers as well their opinions on it. Kind of what's the point of running a blue stem if you can make it there in one sprint anyway. I could probably run without it. My favorite response was from Finest. If you don't follow Finest on Twitch, he has, or YouTube, he makes really great informational videos as well. His response when I asked him, he said, running the blue stem is just the Chad thing to do. And I was like, you know what, that's all the answer I need. So I've been running a blue stem ever since. But yeah, let's hop into an offline raid. I know I've been talking a bunch. And let's see if we can find a spawn. I'm going to do the AM just because I think you all will be able to see a little bit easier. And here we go. We're going to enable bosses, and we'll see if he spawns. Alright, so here we are in raid. We spawned out in front of Ali towards the east wall. Right behind this camp where you can use that key card to swipe in the container that no one ever does. We're just going to run into the side of the garage. So I normally cut through in between these blue fences here. There's a spawn right inside this little area that I'm about to run through. So right about here, there's also a spawn. I like to call it the ramp spawn. For whatever reason, I normally always get a spawn, a Killa spawn when I spawn in that location. It's again, just something I've observed, nothing scientific about it. But you'll kind of pick up on some patterns like that. Alright, so as we run up into the building, we are going to be approaching from this ramp. Now you can also run up the escalators that I just passed on the left there. If you run up the escalators, then you can actually take a little loop through Rasmussen before you get to Killa. That's just a good way to pick up some extra money. As you run through the basement here, make sure you're I normally run through and I peek to the right to make sure no one's running from that area. So you often get little skirmishes down here. And as you walk up the ramp, you want to keep this box right in front of you. So, again, this is another little discrepancy between kind of the newest patch in Tweak's video, which he says is updated. He says that Killa can still spawn right there, which he cannot. And again, if I say he can't spawn there, that's just in my experience through 400 raids. So if he can spawn there, then it's such negligibly rare that I would just ignore it. So I would just say, as you come up into this raid, keep this box in front of you, because you want to slow peek this box, and he might be right next to the truck right here, and he's not, but sometimes he'll be right here. If he is, just go ahead and mag dump into him, and the M61 should take care of it. Again, the recoil is pretty good here on this build, so it shouldn't be a problem. Just aim for his head, and you can one tap him in the helmet with M61s. I don't know quite the ratio. The other possibility, again, or I'm sorry, not possibility, the discrepancy is Tweak says that he can spawn in a deke. Again, I haven't seen it. He used to spawn right on this little corner of these boxes here. I haven't seen it this patch at all, so I think that's negligible. I'm just going to reload just in case I do run into him. But here we go. So I'm going to push forward. Oh, and actually there he is. So this is one of his new spawns. He's right beneath this little tarp. You can see his legs sticking out. And you can mag dump him through the tarp. And actually, I think I'll do it. Why not? I can just go prone, mag dump him. He was crouching. You could see his little leg angled, so that means that he's crouching. So if I aim about here, that was head height. And there you go. Quite an easy kill. M61s are great. Once you kill them, again, this is all happening within the first couple minutes of the raid. You'll quickly click onto him, check his pockets. As you're checking his pockets, you can transfer your mags if you have any, dump your armor. I pick up his armor first. You can use Alt left click to quickly equip everything. And you know, just pick up your grenades. I normally leave the stuns. Sometimes when his pockets are filled, you won't have room for everything. But there you go. There's Killa dead. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna go into tunnel vision here because the blue sim. But that's Killa dead. But let me quickly run you through all the rest of his spawns. I actually don't love running up the ramp. That's not my favorite approach for Killa. The best spawns are right in front of the mall. So the absolute creme de la creme spawn is if you spawn in the little scav camp right there. You can take a little shortcut through one of the containers, and you run straight up the gut, right through the front door, and that's the absolute best spawn that you can get. The other good one is you can spawn out by the truck over there on the left-hand side, again by this main scav road. And there's a couple more spawns over on the idea side, which are a little suboptimal. If you spawn all the way far in the corner by railway extract, that's the worst spawn. I'd say that spawn by railway and the one by power station are really bad. Sometimes I just kind of immediately extract and get a run through, and I don't even try, especially on the weekends, because if you spawn there's no way that you're getting there in time. But yeah, if you run through the front, this is my favorite approach to go kill Killa, because often he's looking the other way. So let's quickly run through all the spawns as I walk through the building. So again, as far as I know, he no longer spawns inside of Viking. So he used to spawn kind of right in the back here. Well, he had two spawns inside this room. He could spawn by these little clothing shelves here, and he had another spawn right in this corner. Again, over 400 raids, I haven't seen him in here a single time, so I think that spawn's gone. Another spawn where he used to be, and this is in Tweak's video, is right here. Again, haven't seen it a single time, so I don't even bother checking it anymore. Running up the gullet of the mall next to the escalators, he does have a rare spawn chance right here in front of this little triage center. He would be sitting right here in front of this blue awning. He might also be kind of behind these chairs. If you happen to engage with him over by this store right here, which I always forget the name of, Brutal. If you happen to engage with him in Brutal and he runs away to heal, he'll often run away right here and he'll heal. So if you ever need to track him down, that's a pretty common place to find him. Coming up into the mall, these are a little bit more common spawns. So a new spawn is right here in the corner, so you can spawn there. I think in Tweak's video, he actually kills him here. So that's rare. I've only seen him there twice, but he can spawn there. All of his normal spawns inside of the store are still here, so he can spawn kind of right here in front of the forklift. He can spawn right here next to this little, I don't know, vending machine. And he can spawn right here on the side in front of this doorway. And again, he used to be able to spawn like right here because you could jump on this bench and kill him. He doesn't spawn there anymore or spawn here anymore, so that is out. So don't be jumping on the bench anymore. You're just going to be making noise. Obviously, we just saw one of the new spawns, which is behind this blue curtain. So he can kind of deviate anywhere in between this area. I don't really see him as far back as this. So, you know, keep that in mind as well. He also used to be able to spawn right here in this main alleyway. I haven't seen him there anymore. As far as the mantis spawn, again, Tweak checks it in his video. I haven't seen him in here a single time. He used to be able to spawn in this little cubby here. He would spawn in this cubby where sometimes you find like gold chains and stuff. He doesn't spawn back here anymore, but where he does spawn is in front of the sandbags for this second entrance. So he can spawn right here by the sandbags. It's caught me off guard a couple times because if I run in through Idea, he could be standing right here. And if that's the case, so if you're running in from Idea, you'll be running into this direction. So you'll peek this alleyway. Again, if he's right there, all I do, and I think BSG has been pretty good about programming him to not to just laser you straight off the bat. I normally have time to get behind these boxes, and if you aggro him, get behind the boxes, break line of sight. The biggest thing to do is get behind cover and peek from the right direction. So make sure you're not doing a left-hand peek, because if you notice the gun's on your right shoulder, so if you peek to the left, more of your body is exposed than what you can actually see. So he will absolutely laser you if you peek from the left. So you want to peek from the right. Again, just locate some cover where you can do that. I would probably sit right here, and as he runs around the corner, you will just absolutely laser him. So that's an easy kill. Again, just kind of keep in mind these new spawns. So that's one of them right here in front of Mantis. But again, this one's pretty rare. I've only seen it a couple times. If he spawns here and you're coming up from ramp side, he will shoot you. So again, just keep in mind that he can spawn here. So he will shoot you, but you normally have time to get out of the way, and it's not too much of an issue. So you don't really have to keep an eye out for this spawn at all. He'll either aggro onto you or you'll see him right away. So it's not even really worth spending time checking, because he's either going to be there and you'll know it or you won't. Also approaching from Idea, a discrepancy between Tweak's video again. He says that if Killa is spawned by the truck, that he will just absolutely laser beam you and you won't get an opportunity to shoot him. I have not experienced that in the slightest. More often than not, Killa's looking away from me and I get a free couple head taps and he is dead. He doesn't even shoot back. Killa is not good at range, so yeah, I don't know where that was coming from in this video, but I haven't experienced it. So let's just walk through the last couple spawns, and then maybe I'll take you into a live raid, and we'll see if we can get them to spawn. All right, so again, awning's the last one, or the last one that I went over in this direction. You can also spawn right here in front of the truck, so it's important to keep in mind when you're coming up from the ramp. So as I came up from the ramp this last time, again, I checked the truck spawn, and what you want to do is you want to hug the truck as you swing, and that'll let you check the awning first, and then as you go to the left, he would be right here. So it breaks the line of sight as you're approaching in case he spawns right here next to the bench. So this is a new spawn as well. The truck is probably the most common spawn, and that's why I like approaching from the front of the mall, because if you're approaching from the front of the mall, you either get to kill him through this little cubby right here, in which case he normally never sees you. You get to kill him inside a brutal, and again, he's looking at this doorway, so you can just quickly head tap him in the back. Or as you come out here, he's looking towards the hole, and again, I've walked like straight up on top of him and gave him a good one of these. into the dome, and he does not, I don't know, I guess he doesn't hear you. I don't know how they programmed that, but he's rather unsuspecting. So I think they made it a little bit easier to kill him this patch, which has been nice for the farm. But you can one-tap him in the back of the helmet with M61. I think you can one-tap him in even the face shield with M61 because it pens level 6. So, yeah, aim for the head. The very last spawn, well, there's two more spawns. Well, I guess 3 more because there's 2 inside of generic. So inside of generic, another new spawn is right here behind the metal plates. So he'll be right here next to the tank. He will aggro onto you as you walk in. So you want to be checking it as you walk in. If he's there, again, it takes a second for him to shoot. So you get an easy head tap there. And lastly, behind the awning, he can still spawn here. This is an old spawn. And again, for whatever reason, he's normally like facing these boxes and is none the wiser to a good old head tap. Alright, so you may think that's it, but there is one more spawn. It is super rare. I've seen it twice. The first time I thought it was an absolute fluke, but it did happen because I confirmed it the second time. And what that spawn is and I realized it the second time because I actually approach. Sometimes when I approach from the front of the mall, I'll approach it like this. So I'll run into brutal. I'll check this spawn, and then I'll loop out to the left-hand side. Whoa! Good thing I'm wearing Killa helmet. Is he up top? All right, we're gonna ignore that guy. Let's throw the face shield on. All right. Sometimes I kill him, or I'll check for this spawn, and then I'll loop out the backside, and I'll check for spawns inside of Brutal. I just like to approach from this angle, because if you keep on pushing through the store, then you have to deal with all this obstruction, and sometimes he'll see you before you see him, and that's never good. So yeah, so I'll push from the outside, and then I'll loop around here, and I can get an easy sight line either through this little peak here, so you can still see his dead body. You can see him there, and then again, easy one taps, and then you can see him from in front of the truck into the next to the truck as well. Alright, but one time I was doing that, and I heard a sound to my left, and I looked, and he was sprinting from the tent. So there is a confirmed tent spawn. It's the cafe tents outside in front of Goshen. You can spawn over here. Good lord. Should have stuck with the one tap. So I don't know exactly where he spawns. I would assume he can spawn with the sight line to the front of the mall, which is about here. So he spawns somewhere around here. I haven't seen him sitting, but there is a spawn here. I saw it once when I was approaching from the front of the mall. He aggroed onto me. He started running, and I killed him when he was about here. And the first time, which I thought was a fluke, I was running through. I had just checked the generic spawn, and I was running through the cafe, as I do. So I run through the cafe, and right about here, I heard the big old guy yelling at me. I guess he aggroed on as I was walking through the doorway here, and yeah, I heard it. I spun around. He got the better of me on that one because I was absolutely not suspecting it. And I was like, what the heck just happened? So I guess there is a spawn right here. Again, extremely rare. I've only seen it twice. But, you know, worth kind of keeping in mind. In order to extract, there's a couple options. So I'll quickly run through those. As you run through Goshen, obviously, you know, use the shelves as cover. It's offline, so I'm not as worried. But there are scavs that spawn back here. If you're worried about run-throughs and you're trying to keep your survival rate up, it's a good place just to get a quick head tap on a scav, touch his body, and that way you don't get a run-through every time. That's what I try to do, and you can still see I have almost 70 run-throughs, so that's really jacking my survival rate. But yeah, you'll just run through there, run to the back storage shelves. You'll jump on here. My strength again is pretty high. Let's see, I have 38 strength. But you'll jump on these pallets. You'll jump on this big spool, so watch out. you can actually fall in there, and if your strength is not high enough, you cannot jump back out. So be careful with that other spool, but you'll jump on there, jump on top of the shipping container, and jump on the barbed wire fence. You'll drop down. As you drop down, hold left, so you fall into this little ledge. You'll walk along the ledge. You'll fall into the shipping container. If you're doing the strategy where you're leveling strength along with your killer runs, then you can fall on the ground, but there is a small chance you break your leg. If you're this close to... Damn you, thunder. If you're this close to extract, it doesn't really matter. But, you know, if you're competing for Killa spawns, there's other people doing the same thing, so I've gotten in fights out here before. You know, just fall in the shipping container, fall in that little part, and you actually won't take any damage as you come down. And then you'll just run to the no backpack extract and get out here. Again, another small discrepancy from Tweak's video. He says you can run down this little middle section, so let me quickly point that out to you. I'll run around. So what he tells you to do is run down this little drop-down area outside the back of Goshen, which is a good little sneaky spot for those of you that might be new. There's this area, you jump up on the pallets and the boxes, and you can get in and out of the garage and up into the back of Goshen. So this is what Tweak recommends in his video, is to go through here. If you are going through here, you can just drop. You can just drop and break your legs. I don't know if I've ever broken my legs from that drop before, but there you go. Alright, so you can come out here, and Tweak says go to the right in order to extract. Again, I would not recommend that. I would go to the left, which is the way I walked in. And if you go to the left, you can eventually circle around to the no backpack extract. I think this is a little bit faster than going to the right. I don't know why Tweak says go to the right. But again, love Tweak. Hate to be hating on him all this video. I just think he's telling some suboptimal strategies here, so I hate to call him out. Again, who am I? Who am I in the eyes of Tweak? But yeah, so you'll just quickly get out, extract through here, and that would take you out of the raid. So pretty quick and easy. I'm glad that they fixed the spawn rates for him. It only takes some time. Also, like chuck any grenades there. Any grenades that you pick up, I normally throw them out before I extract. Again, just to pick up a couple extra strength points. Grenades aren't that expensive this wipe. So it's easy to just kind of get rid of them. Anyway, so you'll go through. I normally sell everything. If you get a kill and he has his RPK with BS or Eaglenik ammo, and he has a labs key card, it's worth about 1 mil a kill. So this is a very viable money farming strategy, or ruble farming strategy, whatever you want to call it. So you can keep that in mind. I always throw the labs cards into my sick case, and then I forget about them. So all of these are like are ones that I've brought into subsequent raids. Well, here you go. I have one that's found in raid. Sell it. They sell for about 212k. It seems to be a pretty fixed price at this point. Yeah, so they're worth about 1 mil, which is nice. The kills, that is. If he has his PP19, I normally strip the PT3 stock off. The LAC, the LAC tac laser thing, that's worth 80k for some reason, or yeah, about 80k. I think that's because it's used for a gunsmith task. So take advantage of that while the wipe's still young. And the other thing I'll strip off that gun is the RK3 pistol grip. Again, it's worth about, I don't know, 60k. So there's a worth stripping. If he's running his AKMN or AKMNS, that's not really worth anything. I just vendor it to mechanic. along with the mags. He runs like T45M, so it's the most ideal thing to get shot by, but it's probably the least ideal thing to actually get in terms of money. So let's quickly take